Alright, it's Henry again, and this is part 1 of my review of the 1 to 144 scale real grade Gundam Mk II Titans color version. Okay, so here is the kit snapped together straight out of the box. So this is what it's going to look like with no paint or anything at all. And it actually looks really nice. Just from snapping together, I'm really pleased with this kit so far. So as you can see, I obviously got the Titans color version. The AU version was delayed a little bit, but that's okay for me because I was planning on getting the Titans version anyway. And just like most real grades, or all real grades actually, you've got the different colors of the outer armor. You've got a dark blue here, and then in a few spots you've got an even darker blue. If I get in on the shoulder armor close, you can see the differences between the two shades of the blue armor there. And I think it looks pretty nice, although I actually think that when I get around to painting this guy, I'm going to be adding one more shade of dark blue just to make it a little bit more dynamic. May even add another shade of black as well. So anyway, you get the Gundam Mk II, obviously. You get the shield, you get a beam rifle, the bazooka with removable ammo clip. Ammo is removable on the beam rifle as well. You get 2 clear pink beam sabers. You get the optional head Vulcan pod. You get 2 extra ammo things for the beam rifle and the bazooka. You get an action base connector. And you get a teeny tiny little black Titans pilot figure. Now, pre-assembled onto the arm inner frame parts, you're going to get 2 closed fists, and you're also going to get 2 posable hands, which you got posability at the thumb and all the fingers, pretty much like a master grade. And you're also going to get 2 fixed pose hands, a right trigger finger hand and a left open palm. Also on this kit, we get a few optional parts. We get an optional set of vents for the shoulder armor, an optional set of vents for the legs, and an optional set of chest vents. And we do get both sets. As you can see, we got the originals on the legs, chest, and shoulder, and we get these parts that you can use if you want to. And of course, what real grade would be complete without a giant set of decals? So as you can see, most of the decals are white and a few red ones thrown in for good measure. So those are going to be all over the kit when we're done. They give you 01, 02, and 03 options for the shield and shoulders. And they actually give us quite a few of these bright, shiny metallic stickers. A few gold ones for the inner frame, and those two will be going on the shield if you want. A few green ones for the cameras, silver ones as well. And they actually give us 3 different options for the eye stickers. Seeing as how the eyes are molded in clear green, you've got this piece it's got some clear on it that'll let the eyes, the clear green plastic, show through. You've got this one. This is pretty much like what you get on a standard model kit, black and green sticker. And then you also get these, which are just 2 green stickers that'll go on top of the eyes. So, very nice set of decals on this kit, or clear stickers I should say. Alright, now that we've got all that intro stuff out of the way, let's move on to articulation. So, I guess we'll start at the head. It's got a double jointed head. So the neck can do that kind of chicken motion. It's got a ball joint at the base of the head and then kind of a back and forth joint at the bottom of the neck. So you get side to side 360 rotation. It's going to go up about that far, down about that far. So halfway decent. The shoulders are actually quite posable. They've got several joints in them. You've got a joint that does that. And then you've also got this joint in the shoulder. The only thing that bothers me about the shoulder joint is that this gray piece right here it's not actually connected to the shoulder. It's just on the torso, so it doesn't really move along with the shoulder, but that's just a minor complaint. You've got in and out movement. If you bring the shoulder forward, that movement's a little bit further. And of course you've got 360 rotation. Shoulder armor is on its own little hinge, so it can go up and down like so. Got 360 below the shoulder. Oops. And the elbow joints are actually quite nice. They're double jointed, and inside here on the inner frame you've actually got some moving, I don't want to say hydraulics, but something kind of similar to hydraulics. You bend the little elbow armor down here can move in and out, similar to what the knee armor does, so that's a nice touch. And on the hands, I switched out the fixed pose fists for these posable hands. You got a ball joint at the wrist, then you've got this hinge that lets the hand go forward and back. And then as you can see, the thumb is on a ball joint, and it's got a joint at the middle of the thumb. Index finger is the same, it's on a ball joint with a joint in the middle of the index finger. And all three of the other fingers are on one ball joint together with a joint in the middle of them as well. Now, I haven't really been messing around with this guy too awfully much, so I can't say if the hands are just as fragile as they were on the previous real grade releases, but I haven't had any problems with them yet. So I'm remaining hopeful that these hands are actually going to stay put pretty nicely. Anyway, moving on to the torso, we've actually got 2 points of movement in the torso. You've got up here at the mid-torso, right here at the lower torso, you've got movement. So you've got plenty of back and forth and side to side. Really nice range of movement there. He doesn't rotate 360. In fact, he's only going to rotate about that far to each side. It's because of this little front crotch piece here. The cockpit hatch does open. This front piece kind of slides in and out and opens up very, very slightly, not much. And then it's kind of hard to get this red piece open, but we'll get it eventually. And the cockpit opens like so. There's no pilot in there, but there's a seat down in there. There's a tiny little seat down inside there, but no pilot sitting in it. Anyway, I think that about does it for the head. Might as well do the backpack. These thrusters are on tiny little ball joints, so they can rotate and wiggle a little bit. I find that they pop off sort of easily. You might have noticed that thruster popping off a few minutes ago, but you might want to add a little dab of glue to those. And these parts up here, which support the beam sabers, they can go forward and back, side to side. I don't rotate at all, but pretty nice movement. And we've got these nice little mesh pipes in there, so that's always really nice for added detail. Also, before I forget, this little tiny panel right here is actually removable. Can't really use that with just the rail grade by itself, but that is meant for the high grade Universal Century G Defensor if you wanted to make the Super Gundam. Alright, moving on to the skirt armor. Skirt armor, each part is on a ball joint, so it can go up quite far, as you can see. Nice detail on the bottom of it, by the way. Side to side, no real movement problems with the front skirts. Side skirts can go out about that far, rotate a little bit, and the back skirt as well can come out. As you can see, that little middle piece is separate, but it moves pretty much like the front skirts. And then this back piece can open up and allow you to store the bazooka. Let's see, moving on to the hips. The hips have actually got kind of a swinging joint to them. There's a little locking mechanism here you can unlock and allow the joints, the hip joints, to swing forward if you wanted to do some dynamic poses or some kneeling poses, for example. But other than that, they are on a joint very similar to the Master Grade 2.0, where they can go forward and back as much as you need them to, out as much as you need them to. Pretty much no articulation problems with the hips at all. 360 below the hip. Let's see, the knees are actually quite nice. We've got like a triple joint in them. Bend them. Oops, hip joint came out of place. And as you can see, this upper thigh armor is going to slide. The knee armor is going to slide as well, and all this stuff is going to separate out and have a really nice bending motion there. And you actually got some little hydraulics down inside there, although they're kind of hard to see with the leg armor attached. Alright, moving on to the ankles. The ankles on this kit are actually really cool, I think. This gray piece right here on the inner frame can actually go up and down depending on where you bend the ankle. There you go, see it? And it moves this front piece of leg armor with it, so that goes up and down as well. And I thought that was a really cool feature. And up under this piece, kind of if you look through there, you can see those mesh pipes again. And more mesh pipes here on the back of the knee. So really cool. And then there's a hydraulic right there, as is on most master grade quality Gundams. You'll see them down in that ankle joint. And that'll move around with the ankle. See there, see it stretched out. And that'll be able to bend back and forth. And then the actual ankle is on a peg with like a little swivel to it, so it can go side to side, forward and back, like so. The ankle armor is separate from the foot and the leg, so it's kind of its own piece. So it can go up and down and pretty much move freely. The joint in the feet can bend down like so. Can bend up a little bit. Doesn't bend up very much. And well, if you kind of work with it, it's got like 2 different joints in there that it's working on. And that's about as far up as it's going to go. And then I think this little part at the end of the toe is supposed to move up and down, and it does move up and down a little bit, but it's really just barely any movement at all. So I think that about does it for articulation. I can't think of anything I might have missed. Actually, one thing I did miss, there's a joint here in the right before you get to the wrist, which moves up and down for a little bit of extra movement there. But overall, very, very well articulated, as you would expect for the real grades. And as far as the kit being fragile goes, I know a lot of people have problems with the real grades being fragile, and he has a few minor issues, like the thrusters popping off, and you might have noticed this piece of the side of the arm came off, but overall he feels really solid. He feels much more solid than the real grade RX-78-2 did, or the real grade Zaku did. I also built that. I haven't reviewed it yet. But overall, I'm really pleased with how solid this guy feels, and I think it's just come a long way in terms of stability for these real grade kits. So I think that about does it for part 1 of this review. Make sure to come back for part 2, where we'll take a look at the real grade Mark II's weapons and accessories, and we'll get to see this guy fully painted and decaled. So with that, I'll see you guys next time.